Chapter 5. Even Shege was moved by the morning peace. It was some time before he was able to speak. Do you see all this land? This country stretching beyond and joining the sky? His voice was deep and calm. Wayaki realized that it was charged with strong feelings. He whispered, "Yes, it is beautiful to lie. It is beautiful and young and fertile. Yes, young and fertile. All this is our land. Yes, Father, you know Gikuyu and Mumbi, father and mother of the tribe." It was as if both were in a big dream. Do you see that mountain showing through the grey mist on the horizon? Kirinyaga? Yes, the mountain of he who shines in holiness. Shege stopped but continued with his steadfast look. That is the seat of Murungu. He made Gikuyu and Mumbi. Yes, Wayaki whispered. He stood them on that mountain. He showed them all the land. Yes, again it was a whisper, barely audible. His father's voice had a magic spell. From that mountain he brought them here. Shege was standing beside his son, but a few steps behind. He looked across the ridges, across the hills, gazing still into space, like a man in a vision. Perhaps he was looking at something hidden from Wayaki. Wayaki strained his eyes but could not see anything. Although he feared for his father, he was becoming overpowered by the words flowing from the old man. And his father spoke on, not really talking to Wayaki, but rather talking to himself, speaking his feelings and thoughts aloud. As his voice vibrated, Shege seemed to gain in stature and appearance so that Wayaki thought him transfigured. It was before Agu, in the beginning of things, Murungu brought the man and woman here and again showed them the whole vastness of the land. He gave the country to them and their children and the children of the children. Tene na tene, world without end. Do you see here? Wayaki was not sure if the last question was addressed to him. However, he looked up and saw his father was pointing at the Mogumo tree and the mysterious bush around it. That is a blessed and sacred place. There, where Mombi's feet stood, grew up that tree. So you see, it is Kameno that supported the father and mother of the tribe. From here, Murungu took them and put them under Mukuru wa Odanga in Muranga. There, our father and mother had 9 daughters who bore more children. The children spread all over the country. Some came to the ridges to keep and guard the ancient rites. Old man shifted his gaze and looked at his son. "You are here." "I came with you, father." Wayaki was puzzled. He was beginning to shake himself out of the power of the spell. I know, he said impatiently. "You understand that Gikuyu and Mumbi set their footsteps here?" "Yes." "You descend from those few who came to the hills." There was a moment of silence between them. Wayaki did not understand. "You have heard of Mogo wa Gefiro?" Check. "You have heard of Mogo wa Gefiro?" Check. "You have heard of Mogo wa Gefiro?" Yes, he was a seer. He saw things. The future unfolded before his eyes. Mogo was born and grew up in Kameno before he went to tell the people what he saw. He saw many butterflies of many colors flying about over the land, disrupting the peace and the order of life of the country. Then he cried aloud and said, "There shall come a people with colors like butterflies." People did not believe him. Some even poured scorn on him, laughing at him, for they said, "He is not well," and they would not listen to his voice, which warned them. Beware! The seer was rejected by the people of the ridges. They gave him no clothes and no food. He became bitter and hid himself, refusing to tell them more. He went beyond the hills to the world yonder, the whole extent of Gikuyu land. He was not yet exhausted, and there spoke the message even louder. Still, they laughed and poured scorn on him. Here, they thought him dead, but disguised he came back here and settled. Shege paused for a while, as if to gather his breath. His eyes shone as if with inner power. Then slowly he said, We are his offspring. His blood flows in our veins. Wueeh stood as if dumb. The knowledge that he had in him, the blood of this famous seer who had been able to see the future, filled him with an acute sense of wonder. He could not speak. The only word which escaped him was, "Ha!" His father was still speaking. "He died here. Our fathers do not know where his grave is, but some say that he was carried up by Murungu." Shega stopped and slowly turned to Wueeh. Wueeh trembled freely. "I see you fear. You must learn to fight fear." Fear. It was not only Mogo whom they rejected. When I told them about Syriana, they would not listen. For the first time, Wueeh felt really frightened. Unknown terror gripped him. He fought with it. No doubt you wonder why I tell you all this. Wueeh wanted to cry out. "Don't tell me more. I don't want to hear more. No, 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 father." Instead, he only whispered, "Yes, you are the last in our line." Wueeh felt as if a heavy cloud was pressing down on his soul, and he felt a strange sensation of suspension in his stomach. It was as if something, a presentiment, was moving towards him with all speed, and he was powerless to prevent it. "Sit down," his father spoke gently. Wueeh's legs had already begun to lose strength, and he sank onto the grass. "You are tired, perhaps," Shega said as he moved near his son. Wueeh stopped trembling and hated himself for showing fear. Shega repeated slowly, "You see, when Mogo became bitter, he refused to tell them more." Shega made another pause. His face and eyes were set as if they were trying to recall something long forgotten. He was now standing just behind Wueeh. He bent down and touched his son on the shoulder. Wueeh realized that his father's hand was trembling slightly. Shega withdrew his hand quickly, and then with a loud tremor in his voice, went on, "Now, listen, my son, listen carefully, for this is the ancient prophecy. I could not do more when the white man came and fixed himself in Syriana. I warned all the people, but they laughed at me. Maybe I was hasty. Perhaps I was not the one. Mogo often said you could not cut the butterflies with a panga. You could not spear them until you learned and knew the ways and movement. Then you could trap, you could fight back." Before he died, he whispered to his son the prophecy, the ancient prophecy. "Salvation shall come from the hills, from the blood that flows in me. I say from the same tree a son shall rise, and his duty shall be to lead and save the people." He said no more. Few knew the prophecy. Perhaps Kabonyi, who has betrayed the tribe, knows about it. I am old. My time is gone. Remember that you are the last in this line. Arise, heed the prophecy. Go to the mission place. Learn all the wisdom and all the secrets of the white man, but do not follow his vices. Be true to your people and the ancient rites. "Father," Wueeh called out when he recovered from the shock. He felt weak and small. He did not know what he wanted to say. "You go there, I tell you again. Learn all the wisdom of the white man and keep on remembering salvation shall come from the hills. A man must rise and save the people in their hour of need. He shall show them the way. He shall lead them." But they don't know me. I'm a child and they rejected Mogo." "Let them do what they like. A time will come, I can see it coming, when they shall cry for a savior." It was late in the day when Shega and Wueeh descended the hills. They reached home, both feeling exhausted. Wueeh, the whole experience seemed a dream. What had he, a mere boy, to do with a savior? Was he to go about in the ridges crying, "Listen, a leader shall come from the hills to save you"? And then, for a time, he began to doubt the sanity of his father. Perhaps the whole thing had been an old man's dream. He almost laughed at the serious manner in which his father had taken it all. But there was no mirth in his heart. Instead, he felt a heaviness, making him a man In body, he was still a boy. When the time came, Wayaki vanished from the hills without the knowledge of any but his father. He went to Syriana, where 1 term later, and almost by a miracle, he was joined by Kamau and Kenodia, his fellow Hards boy. The three were destined to live and learn together under the Reverend Livingstone of Syriana Mission, which had now grown into a big institution. Many boys from the hills and beyond from Kiambu and Muranga came there for a portion of the white man's magic. For many seasons they learned and worked hard. Wayaki made quick progress and impressed the white missionaries who saw him a possible brave Christian leader of the church. But who knew that things were changing faster than the vision of Livingstone, the boys' expectation and imaginings? End of chapter 5.